Oppenheimer was not the father of the atomic bomb. The movie Oppenheimer seems to suggest that Dr. Julius Robert Oppenheimer was the father of the atomic bomb. That is, if you missed this caption at the beginning of the movie. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. For this, he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity. Was the movie Oppenheimer's director, Christopher Nolan, suggesting that the fury of atomic energy had been unleashed by humans in the distant past, long before the Trinity test on July 16, 1945? Another clue in the movie is when Oppenheimer quotes Vishnu from the Bhagavad Gita, "Now, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
The movie reveals that Oppenheimer was able to read Sanskrit, the language of the ancient Hindu texts. Undoubtedly, his reading list included the Dronaparva, which describes an ancient weapon with eerily familiar characteristics. In Hindu mythology, the Brahmastra is an astra or projectile weapon that is said to be able to destroy the whole universe, capable of destroying creation and vanquishing all beings. It is termed as a fiery weapon that creates a fierce fireball, blazing up with terrible flames and countless horrendous thunder flashes. When discharged, all nature, including trees, oceans, and animals, tremble, and the sky surrounds with flame. Glaciers melt, and mountains shatter with copious noise all around. It was also said that the Brahmastra could produce a flame that was 10,000 times the brightness of the sun. The fact that when Oppenheimer was asked if Trinity was the first ever bomb of such a type to be detonated, he replied yes in modern times. It adds weight to the supposition that he knew about the Brahmastra weapon. Another collection of sacred texts, the Bible, can also be taken to allude to an ancient atomic apocalypse. Some commentators suggest that the reference of the brimstone and fire that was rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, according to Genesis 19, 24-28, was actually an atomic device of sorts. According to the passage, both cities and their inhabitants were destroyed, as was the entire plain and everything that grew on it. Famously, Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt when she tarried and looked back, reminiscent of the victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The following day, Lot observed the scene from a distance, and all he could see was smoke belching from the earth, as if from a furnace. Ancient alien theorists refer to an ancient Egyptian text that mentions a terrible weapon used by the deity Horus that causes his enemies to first go blind and then die. So what tangible evidence is there to support an ancient atomic event or war hypothesis? Ancient aliens theorists refer to the presence in Egypt of vitrified sand, which is consistent with the detonation of an atomic bomb. Furthermore, at Mohenjo-Daro, on the border of Pakistan, in addition to lumps of glass, radioactive skeletons were found. Circling back to the Bible, it mentions a great flood that destroyed the earth and most of its inhabitants. In his controversial Netflix series, Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Hancock refers to similar stories from around the world. Hancock proposes that the flood was caused at the end of the last ice age, about 13,000 years ago, by multiple comet strikes that melted the ice caps. According to Hancock, the cataclysm wiped out pre-existing advanced civilizations, including Atlantis. Some authors suggest a world nuclear war caused the demise of Atlantis. Such a war could certainly lead to the melting of the ice caps. Perhaps Mars can provide not only proof of an ancient nuclear war, but also the true destruction such a war would bring about. A strange discovery by the Mars Curiosity rover suggests the red planet was home to an alien nuclear war, and experts investigate if an extraterrestrial Armageddon transformed an Earth-like world into the wasteland that we know today. That from NASA's unexplained files. If there is not yet smoking gun evidence of ancient nuclear wars, perhaps it's because we as a species don't want to find it. It would topple us modern humans from our self-promoted position at the top of the Darwinian totem pole. We should be looking harder because the discovery of conclusive evidence of a cataclysmic ancient nuclear war might be the wake-up call that we need. President Joe Biden warned that the world is the closest it has come to nuclear catastrophe in 60 years if Oppenheimer serves as the clarion call to the ordinary citizens of the world to rise up against their nuclear trigger-happy leaders. Then it will indeed be the most important film of this century.